Definitely our presidential candidate profiled, and it will appear to me that he is working with Mayatiala because that is the same language that Mayatiala were saying about me. I have never profiled any Fulani man. I have always qualified anytime I call Fulanis. These are Fulanis from Niger, from Mali, from Senegal, from Mauritania, from Libya, from Chad, who have come together and said they will take over our country to become their own. And that is why they have displaced our people. And who on earth will say I should not say that?
There are reports that PDP is reaching out to Peter Obi.
Yes, why not? He was our member. In fact, if I were Vice President Atiku, I would have, in 2023, I would have said, now, Peter, you were my Vice President at that time. Now, I will support you. You would have been a statesman. You know, Peter is good.
No, Allah there, you cannot stop me. I must say it to the public. Allah, they must hear. You can't stop me. Allah. All right. Out of 44 local government that we have in Cano State, hear me well, only 10 of them are headed by Hausa people. But the rest of the 34 are headed by Fulani people. And guess what? There is no single local government in Cano State which the number of Fulani residing in that area outnumber that of Hausas. Not anyone, not even single one. Why? What led me to conduct this research is what happened recently in Dawakin local government, where a Fulani man, that is the one that is heading the local government as a chairman, sees some plot of lands from the indigenous Hausa people, giving it out to Fulanis. That is saying that those Hausa people are blocking the way for Fulani to pass. So because of that, he seized the land and give it out for Fulani to be grazing and doing all this kind of without compensation. What's this? This is injustice. This is injustice of a highest order. So we cannot keep quiet. We must say it the truth. You are saying that we are Hausa Fulani. And research shows us that you don't marry from Hausa. You don't give out your daughters to Hausa people for marriage also. Unless the ones who are rich among them. They are parading themselves as Hausa Fulani where they don't have any biological connection with Hausas. They don't marry from us. They don't give us their daughter's hand in marriage also. But they are saying that they are Hausa Fulani only to lead us, only to continue like subduing us. This is not fair. It is not fair at all. You know? So we have to do something.
Of Nigeria and Nsukka. Then became a banker, a trader, and entrepreneur. He built wealth, real wealth, before he even asked Nigerians to trust him. Yeah. And here's what made him different. When Peter Obi became the governor of Anambra State in 2006, he didn't act like a typical Nigerian politician. He cut the waste, he refused convoys and returned billions to the state treasury, while others left debt. Obi left a surplus and documents to prove it. While some politicians changed parties for power, Peter Obi did it for purpose. And when he ran for president in 2023, under the Labour Party, the nation finally took notice. Everywhere was shaking. He spoke with clarity. He showed his record. He walked into rooms with nothing to hide. Integrity. Even though the system didn't let him win, his message broke through. It was seen. It was clearly seen his intention. And today, Peter Obi remains a loud reminder that integrity is not weakness. And modesty is not failure. He is not perfect. But in a country drowning in lies, his honesty made him historic. Mr. Peter Obi may not be the perfect person we are looking for, but when you compare him with others who are there, others who are standing out, others who are coming out to show themselves, others who want to help, you will know that he is just the better candidate for us. He is just what we need. We need to cut down expenses and invest in something more important. Invest in our future.
Well, we don't know who we hold kudos this time around now that our Hausa people are waking up from their slumber. Is it Masin Nnamdi Cano? Is it Peter Obi that has break their cabal? Or is it Tinubu that has scattered the north? As Hausa people are coming out now that they are not ready to listen to the word from any Fulani man that candidates will not come from north in 2027. Well, brother, what do you have to say about that, Mr.
Yes, I think the fear of elimination, extermination, has gotten to the deep in the Hausa land and the Hausa consciousness, that they are beginning to realize that the Fulani are not actually who they are. And it's unfortunate, that when they were able to divide the Hausa land, some part went to Niger, some part was left in Nigeria, so we still have a Hausa part in Niger Republic. We have the other Hausa part in Nigeria. In Nigeria, and the one that we have in Nigeria, allowed certain invasion led by the Fulani nomads to overrun them completely, and of course take over everything that belongs to them. It took so many years, without them trying to show sign of frustration or sign they are being suppressed by invaders or people who are not actually indigenous. But just recently, of course, we have seen some of their youths trying to regain or show, that they are trying to understand what is actually going on, how they become victims, how they are being killed on daily basis, how the conquest has, reduced the entire Hausa land and handed over power of conquest and military, whatever it is, economic, social, to people they call the Fulanis. That's the question we are trying to talk about today. If you look at what is going to happen in 2027, precisely, and the fear of having another Fulani man, another Buhari in the circle, that means it will take another 8 years or thereabout, and the Hausa communities, in citizens, in indigenous people are now afraid of what will happen if another Fulani man become the president of Nigeria.
And that has been the fear of South also, that this is the turn of South now. Why are you always hungry? Why are you always hungry for power? Of course, you have been dominating this power for a very long time, and there is no result there. So, with this kind of a thing that you are seeing from a Hausa community, are you seeing any synergy between the South politician and Hausa in 2027?
Yes, if you play majorly, like in a place where the Muhammad Buhari came from, I don't want to say whether he's late actually, because we need to understand what actually went around, because we saw this man left Abuja, as claiming that he's going to Niger Republic. You understand? All of a sudden, we are hearing that, though it is that it can happen anyway, but that's not the issue, and we are discussing now. What the problem is that the Hausa people, cannot be able to get that now. They need to start from the scratch. And how they're going to start, sanitization, reorientation should be their watchword currently now. And secondly, if you look at a place, a state like Katsina, 81% or more are Hausas, but they don't control any political position, they don't control any traditional leadership, institution, or whatever. So you can imagine, this is the same thing we saw happening in Katsina, which is predominantly Hausa land. It can be said to be happening in other states of the north. So how is it going to happen? No Hausa governor, no Hausa minister, no Hausa senator, no Hausa House of Rep, no Hausa this, no Hausa, nothing is left for the Hausa man. So how are they going to do that? So a possible alliance with any Southerner as Nigeria is heading towards a breakup. Yes, Nigeria is heading towards that, clearly. So I think, it will be a very difficult thing to achieve unless, there is going to be massive resistance, and they start occupying political positions, gradually. I think to an extent they can bring the Fulani down, but these are people who are claiming that they have made Nigeria their indigenous land, even though we know they are not indigenous people.
For the first time in recent time, we saw that the number 1, number 2, number 3, even up to number 4, there is no Fulani in that echelon, because Mahmoud Abbas, who is a speaker, is an Hausa man, a Fulani mother, Hausa father. So he's an Hausa man, but he calls himself Hausa Fulani. And unfortunately, these Fulani people don't know how to lure everybody. They know how to influence. Because listen to some of Hausa, the spirit of that dominance is still affecting them. The way they reason, they still sympathize with Fulani. Can we say that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu really break the relationship between Fulani and Hausa? Can we say Tinubu show Hausa people that, see, this is where you belong to?
I think that might be the reason why we are trying to see a majority of them are beginning to speak on the social media, are beginning to regain consciousness, are beginning to question the entity called Nigeria, begin to see the reason why we should not be together, begin to align with the intelligence and knowledge and the philosophy of Mazi Nnamdi Cano. So you can say that to an extent, Tinubu's administration had an impactful consciousness on them, for them to begin to come out and begin to express themselves, because Tinubu to an extent systematically and diplomatically dismantled the hierarchy of the northern Fulanis within the central political power, and that is not what they are talking to not be happy. They are not happy about it. The Fulanis are not happy. And they are afraid of a possible, uprising by the Hausas, that would be a very brutal one, because if they allow that, it means their end has come. And that is why you see most of them are championing, Ruga in 36 states. Most of them are trying to make sure that they have their present all under in the name of one Nigeria in all the 36 states of the Federation. Look at what Christopher Musa is saying now, that they should allow the Fulanis have whatever they call Ruga, whatever the grazing it is, they should allow them in all the 36 states of the Federation. And I beg to understand this very clearly. A private business. And how did government start intervening in private business if there's no ulterior motive?
Somebody like Christopher Musa is one of those people that that make me amazed, that as we are trying to liberate them from the a grip of Fulani oligarchy, but they keep on putting themselves further into it. Another typical example of Christopher Musa is our Vice President Shetima, who is a Kanuri man. And I think President Bola Ahmed Tinubu might have made a mistake thinking that a Kanuri man will reason different from Fulani man, that a Kanuri man will not be reason like a Fulani man. But very, very unfortunate, we saw that Shetima is still carrying out the Fulani agenda, still romancing with Buhari, still all his body language, so that he still have this Fulani dominating agenda.
And that is the damage that was done by the Fulani ethnic nationality in some part of the northern part of the country that does not align with predominantly Hausa. Hausa is the most popular language. It's not Fulani. They just look for a way to say it's Hausa Fulani. There was nothing like Hausa Fulani. It was British created. So, and that the problem is that these people does not know how to separate religion from politics. And so for the fact they have captured that religion, they play politics in it. So that is why you continue to spread an extremism of some of their leaders in that regard. So it is something that if you need to do that, of people that are already radicalized, in terms of, you know, understanding, in terms of secularity, in terms of, you know, morals, in terms of faith and the approach of their political understanding is difficult now. That's why you see that even those who are not predominantly Hausas, you know, have been corrupted into believing, you know, that there's no how this thing can be achieved. They are all enjoying one faith. So the center of the faith, and that's why you can see all over the world now, you know, even in the European, there's a clamor for destruction of anything that has to do with Islamic tendencies. The European Union are championing because they are taking over Europe already, and it is spreading in Africa.
Like a cancer.
Yes, you've got the battle that is going on and these people are not coming with peace. They are coming with death or life. You can understand that, like what we are experiencing here in Nigeria. And the world is not getting conscious over it because they feel that it's happening in the other country. It's not my business. But this is something that has become a virus, a menace that the world needs to stand up, and that is why you see Israel going extra mile to make sure that the Jewish nation stands as a nation that has come to stay. But you can see what they are doing. Just in a space of how many they just left power, and you can see the outcry. You can see what Kwankwaso is saying. You can see what these guys are saying that have just left power, that enjoy power for how many years. Then people begin to wonder, you know, why would Bola Ahmed Tinubu be considering, you know, listening to these people at this point in time? Because it is the turn of the South. When Buhari was there, nobody complained. Nobody ever complained over anything. They ran their 8 years, Fulanized everywhere, you know, and Northernized everything as they can. And at the end of the day, everything was Buharied. So how would we have been able to achieve that? Then you're saying just 2 years of Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration, even though it is a pure catastrophe. Yes, we should allow it be. It's not the turn of the North, and that is why with the fear of a possible alliance with the South targeting the eastern part of the country, who have already you know, been enveloped by the Biafran vision.
Before we go, let's quickly go to North Central, because Zamfara is in Northwest, and the North Central is another peculiar region where the hand of Fulani, not only, I mean, holding them down, but tormenting them, killing them on a daily basis. How do you think they will react to this kind of a development that is happening in Zamfara?
I think that was the struggle to break the monopoly of the North on the Middle Belt. You know, very important, because if we were able to break that, you know, that would have been very, very okay. And the only thing I keep on saying is, continuing in this kind of atmosphere as a unity, continuing in this kind of atmosphere as a Nigerian, will bring all of us down to the knees of these people who are having foreign support from Iran and all that. Yes, and how the Middle Belt is going to pull out completely from this if there is no independent and sovereign nation that can stand as a resistance of rescue to the Middle Belt. That is the only thing. Apart from the secular political game they are going to be playing, you know, appointment and all that, like those Bola Ahmed Tinubu had just appointed somebody from Plateau now, you know, Tiwada as the national chairman of APC and other kind of game, you know. But you can see that they still have their structures in the southern part of the country. Most of those governors you are seeing, including the one from Edo State, is already been planted by this extreme political jihadist conquest agenda. So when you see this governor, you think that people voted for, nobody voted for them, and they are using the resources that come from that Biafran land to put them in a political position so that they can use them to be controlled and to achieve what they want to achieve, which is purely, you know, Islamization agenda. There's no two ways about it.
Well, thank you very much. Please, our viewer, if you are watching this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel if you are watching.